Hello and welcome back to my channel. Gladys Nyambura here. And if you are new here, welcome to Gladys Unscripted, where creativity has no limits. Why you ask? Because in my opinion, I just think that life is too exciting to just walk in one lane. I know you agree with that. Now, today we are going to talk about someone that has been trending for the longest time. His name is MCJJ. He turns out to be in the entertainment industry and a DJ, and he's been having a problem at the apartment that he's been staying in, and well, it's a long story, but then turns out he was asked to vacate out of the premises. Rather, he was just given a notice to just vacate the premises. Why? Because of the complaints from the neighbors and the caretaker and the police. They were notified, and so he was just simply asked to vacate the premises because of noise pollution. Now, this guy decided to, since decided to like not sort of move out up until his rent deposit was refunded, and so he took the amount of money that was refunded to him and decided to buy like a more powerful system and come and install it in his house so that he could make like a he could give them like the best noise pollution of their lives way before he moves out. Now, how did that turn out? Not so beautifully, because lights in his house were turned off. And so, I mean, like, for you to make all that noise, you need electricity. And so what did he do? He figured a source from outside, meaning this guy is just unstoppable. He figured like a light source from outside the apartment, and exactly at, was it 3, he wakes up the neighbor with loud music. Funny thing is, this young man goes ahead and films as he switches on the music. He goes ahead and films to see if any neighbors are awake, because I mean, he's waking them up to go to work. He doesn't want them to get late for work, and so films, and the lights start going on, like being switched on and off. And so, because they weren't definitely expecting that, since he doesn't have any lights in his house and everyone else knew. Now people wake up and the reaction is not so pretty. After some time, like some days later, the young man is beaten up in his own house, and people hurl insults at him, especially those in that apartment. Now, this guy is a DJ, and so sometimes streaming is part of his job. And if you are streaming like online, and especially the audience is basically at night, because that is when everyone is looking for entertainment, and so that is the kind of noise that was irritating the neighbors. Now, this young man later on found someone to like fund his moving out to like a better apartment. In my guess, if I'm not wrong, in Utawala. Utawala is like one of those outskirts of Nairobi. I think it's in Embakasi. Yeah, and so someone funds that and he's supposed to move. Now, this story of MCJJ, I'm sure every one of us can relate to a situation where you've had problems with neighbors or maybe the landlady. Now, I had a similar situation where I'm not one to like have loud music in my house, and this is not in the current house, rather in a way different apartment I used to live in. And so I had never had loud music on. If anything, I'm the kind of a person that whether I'm in or out, you'll never know, because I don't do so much while in the vicinity. It's either I'm indoors or I'm just like away completely. You just like never see me. And so one day I decided, you know what, I'm home today, so let me just put on like a little loud music so I could listen to. I want you to keep in mind that all the neighbors that I had used to play loud music. It doesn't matter day or night. So I wasn't in a corner. Like my apartment was like in a central place where I had like two apartments to the left and two apartments to the right, like two houses to the right. And so mine, like my house number, was in the middle. And so one day I just like all these used to play music, and especially music that wasn't even like a genre I'd listen to. Now, one day I decide, you know what? Let me just play a bit of music, and so I put on my soft music. Well, let me not call it soft. Rather, my type of music. Well, at that time I was listening to rock music, and I was just having a good time. The volume was not even all that loud. It was about 50, and so someone came knocking on my door saying that I was too loud. And that got me thinking, I'm too loud. Every other neighbor here plays music I don't even like, and I could not comprehend what the caretaker was saying. Yeah, it was the caretaker of the place. However, he did not make that up. Someone else told him that I was playing loud music and it was disturbing to them. Keep in mind, these people woke up every single day and played loud music. Let me not even say the specific genre because I don't want to be biased, because I'm not a fan of that specific genre. But on this specific day, the caretaker comes knocking on my house and he's like, "You're making noise for everyone else in this apartment." And that is when I decided, you know what? I think it's high time for me to move out. And from that moment, I kept on playing music over and over again because I don't understand like the double standards. I don't understand that. And so one day, as I was playing the music, this is like now the following day, because like I just made it clear to him that every other person plays music, so why can't I play music? Mind you, this is like the very first time you're hearing my music. Every other time I did not even use my woofer, to be specific. I never used it. Like I never used my sound system. This was like the very first time I was using the sound system. And so every other time I was just using my TV, and I could not understand why this specific time, like when I play my music, it's disturbing to the neighbors. Mind you, these other guys have like really really loud music, and I'm talking about music that is making your windows shake, or like stuff like light stuff in your house to move. You could even think it's an earthquake or something. And so, wow, I got so angry, and then I asked him like, and I could not like understand the whole like the double standards, and to me that was a major red flag. And also and you know, like the things that you suspect, like the doors that, like the specific house I was living in, the doors were not those ones that you open with like a, they don't have like a latch. Rather, they have like a place to the like those doors you open with a key. So they have like a lock, just a lock only. And so if you leave the house, there's no other form of security apart from the lock. And so I wasn't the first person that had moved into that specific apartment. And so if at all there was, of course there was a previous tenant, and if at all this previous tenant duplicated their key, it meant that there was someone else who could have access to my house when I wasn't around. And so when I was moving into the specific house, I asked the landlady, "You just gave me one key, where are the rest of the keys?" And then she was like, "There are no more keys to this house." And I could see that the key that I had was a duplicate, so it wasn't an original key. It's so easy to differentiate. There's like the material is not the same, and there's just specific things that you can spot in a duplicate key. And I knew the key was not an original key. However, when I asked the landlady, she went like, "You know what? There's no other keys. Like there are no other keys." And then I asked her, "What if one day, by mistake, I lose this key, or maybe I forget it somewhere, Or maybe I had someone come to visit me and they leave with a key. What will happen to me? Like, in case I need to open this house with a different key, because I could have like an emergency, what will happen? Or maybe, let's assume, like I fainted in the house, or maybe something happened to me and you've not seen me outside for like a week or like 3 days. What will happen then? And she was like, oh, don't ask many questions. And I should have spotted that as a red flag, apart from the fact that before I moved into that apartment, immediately I walked in, I could sense I could sense there was a different spirit in that environment. Like when like your intuition or thing, like never ignore those things at all. Never ignore at all, because if you cannot follow how you feel or follow like your intuition, it simply means that you don't respect how you feel, or you just like disobeying your inner self. And that is a mistake I've learned never to do again. I never ignore my intuition. Now, so when I asked her, like I need like an extra key, she was like, "No, we don't give extra keys here. We only have one key." And I was like, "What?" So that was like another red flag. So that like those are two red flags. Another red flag was the apartment was really dark, and I don't do so well in dark environment, because I get really anxious, like, and for me, that is a big deal. And so there are specific times that I really need to be in the dark, like in a very dark room, but it's not every day. So every other month, I have a migraine. And the fact that I have a migraine every other month means that maybe it could be like the migraine is during the day, and so that room was useful to me then. However, it was very, very dark. That's another red flag I really should have considered. Another red flag like I did not see was the fact that when I entered the house, there was no service. Like I could not receive calls, I could not make calls, no messages. The only option I had was to use Wi-Fi. And so the house was located in like a depression, like a steep place and then a flat surface. So it's like basically in a depression, it's like in a valley. Yeah. And so I don't know, those are the things that I did not consider, and that was my bad. Like, red flags, just never ignore red flags, all I'm saying. And so on this specific day that I've been told like my music is too loud, so the following day I had like music on, because I was basically also like at home that day. And so what happened is the caretaker he did not come to my house, rather he went and switched on off my lights at the main switch, which I have no access to. Yeah. Now, I knew he had done that, and to me that was it. Like, to me that was it's as if I had been waiting for like a sign to like trigger me to move out. And so when he switched off my lights, I went like I just I could not shower. And so what I did was I warmed some water, and then I went and took a bath, and then I left the house. I did not question him regarding the electricity. I did not do that. And I went out and I started looking for a house. That is that's some very it's some time back. I went looking for a house, and so when I was looking for this house, I did not even know what I wanted, but I just wanted out of that environment. For starters, I did not want a house that was cold, and in my entire life, I've never wanted a cold house. It just makes me sick and it makes me feel depressed, and especially a house without a view. For me, in the house, I just I can't. And also like a house like that is maybe a cold house makes me sick and I feel depressed and I feel disgusted, because assume you're coming from the shower in that specific house, it's more likely to look foggy, and for me that would not work. It looks like a sauna basically, because the environment is so cold. Whatever steam that is coming from your shower makes it look like a sauna. It's like it's what is it called, it's like it condenses, and so for me that makes the environment very what is it called, stuffy, and I cannot stand it. Rather, it's just going to make me sick, because the fact that that happened will make me feel as if there's going to like be mold on my walls and on the floor, on my clothes, things like that, and that is prone to happen. It happens. I'm not even like lying. I'm not even like trying to sugarcoat or anything. It just happens automatically. It happens, and for me, that makes me sick. I start to itch. I start to feel stressed, and then I just get up, end up depressed for no reason. And so every time I'm looking for a house, I have to make sure the light is hitting me. I'd rather have a house that by 6 a.m. has full light in my house and wakes me up. I'd rather have that. And maybe like and I get like some sort of fresh air, and sort of maybe like even if the view is not as beautiful, I want that, as long as I have a view. If I don't have these three things, I'm more likely to end up depressed and keep moving houses, like just keep moving houses, and that's not ideal for me. And so when I'm looking for a house, I consider my mental health a lot. And so um I go on house hunting, and the first house, for some reason, for me, the first house, every time I'm house hunting, the first house that I view is always what I end up taking up. And so on this, like on that day, I got a house, and I also looked for like other houses, but at the end of the day, that's the house that I picked. And I don't know if this is just for me, but every other time I've gone looking for a house, I just end up picking the house that I saw first before considering like other options. Yeah. And so yeah, that was it. So I saw the house, and then I took the number of the person that was renting it, and I promised that I would actually move. Now I went back to my place, still no lights on. And so the caretaker was a young man. I asked him, yo, you switched off my lights. Clearly I had bought some tokens in the morning, so it can't be my tokens, and every other person is playing music. He's still playing music, and music that I don't even like. But I don't complain, because that is how they find joy. And so I asked him, yo, you know what? I need you to like switch on my lights. And he went like, which lights? It could be a token is out. And I told him, well, he didn't know how old I was, and he had always assumed like the house I was living in was like sort of my parents, and then I was just like the child. So he didn't know. And so besides like the shenanigans, the place also like the water from the, what is it called, the water from the, well, the place had like a borehole, and then it had like a sewer system. And so the sewer system and the borehole were separated by like a wall, meaning that the sewer system would leak into the borehole, which also, like every other time I was in that house, I was falling sick like almost every single week. Yeah. And so I knew all about that, and I had been buying water since the previous caretaker had like informed me about the same. And so like the caretaker was so unprofessional basically, and he was a very young man, naive at its best. And I could not even stand him. And so I told him, you know what, you need to just basically switch on my lights, and I'm not arguing with you. And after deliberating, I guess with like his stupid mind, he finally decided, let me just switch it on. And I also told him, if you don't switch on my lights, then just give me a key, I can do this job for you. And that's when I guess he decided, you know what, let me just do it. But I knew there and then I'd move out of that place. And so I went back to my house. I did not even like the house anymore. I was even disgusted by the house, honestly. It had like, it was a good house, but every house that I've always moved into, or maybe like every house that you move into has something that you don't like. And if the house that you've just moved into has everything that you like, you are more likely to be paying some good amount of money. And so since I'm not up to that level yet, subscribe so I can get to that level. Since I'm not there yet, and also, oh yeah, basically subscribe, comment, and share, and like. And so since I wasn't on that level yet, I decided to just start packing my stuff. But then that did not stop me from playing music. I told you, like, I was playing music at volume 50, right? I actually reduced it to 40. But according to me, the harassment did not stop. Yeah. So at one point, this caretaker actually switched off my water. Yeah, he switched off my water, and then so he was like, "We know you cannot survive without water." However, I had not even been using that water. I was only using the water to flush my toilet, because the toilet, that's okay. But taking a bath and drinking and cooking, I wasn't using that water. I was just using water from outside, like I was simply buying water. Keep in mind, this is in a 1-bedroom house. And so oh my god, I feel so pissed. I hope someone gets it. And so after some time, something else happened. So I told you the story about the lock, right? All along I had been suspecting that someone was getting into my house when I wasn't around, and I had not told anyone about it because these are like, that specific environment was the kind of environment where they gaslight you. I had even complained about the water smelling like sewage, and they told me I could be having like a health problem. Like, who does that? And so I knew if I said something about someone entering my house, then they would definitely gaslight me into thinking that I was mad. And this is how I know that someone was getting into my house when I wasn't around. So there's this. I'm not someone that, I'm a little bit introverted, I'd say. But so this one time, I was in my house for 2 days, never left. And so the very first day, I was just in the house. I was so tired, and I was just chilling away from work. Like I had just taken like a day off from work, and so it was connected to like the weekend. And so I had taken 2 days, like Thursday, Friday, and so Saturday and Sunday I wasn't working, and then the Monday was a holiday. And so that's a very long period to be at home, and I needed that because I was very tired. And also, like, the place that I was working was like 24 kilometers away, and the houses that were near that specific environment were not pleasing to me. And other factors such as there were like shanties around, and basically stuff that would mess up with my mental health. I did not want that. And so I sacrificed commuting to work every single day for 24 kilometers. And so I was suspecting someone was getting into my house when I wasn't there. And so what I did was I set up a trap. I had like this laptop, and so a laptop that I knew something was going on. I set up like the camera. I set the camera on such that when the person came in, they would assume the laptop was off, because this I had like the screen was not visible, like you could not see the camera was running. And so what I did was I set the screen, like I started recording. I set the recorder on, and then I just set the laptop there, and then I walked out. This was way before. So on this was like way later, so I could have like evidence. And so when I had taken like this long leave, long long leave, let's say. Well, basically it's a day off, but yeah, when I had taken like some time off of work, the very first day I was just in the house cooking and sleeping because I needed that rest. And so the following day, so like I slept during the day, and so I did not sleep so much at night, or I did not sleep early at night. And so the following day I slept up until around 9 a.m. And so for the rest of the day I was just maybe eating, and that's it. And so I did not, and eating, watching, sleeping, I was so tired. And so at night I did not go to bed early because I had been sleeping during the day. And so around midnight, I never, like, my lights were never on. And that's another thing that I need to stop doing. I never like sort of turn my lights on while I'm in the house. I don't know why, but I don't know, he's something that I need to stop. And so at around midnight, I hear some movement outside my door, and suddenly the lock, like someone tries to like unlock my house. Lucky for me, I had also like there's a latch on the, like, what is it called, like below the lock, and then up there. And so I had locked my house in that order. And so when they tried opening my, and also like when you like on the lock, there's another place that you can also lock. So like there are three places, there are three security places that can help you, so someone does not like forcefully enter your house when you're inside, but outside, just the lock. And so when the person unlocked my house, I was so scared, and that confirmed to me that something was going on, and someone had been entering my house. And I wasn't imagining things, I wasn't going mad, like those landladies who make you believe that you're insane. This one had actually made me believe that, since I was falling sick every other week because of the water, and oh my god, god, she had made me believe that I was actually a dirty person. Do you see the amount of gaslighting going on? She had made me believe that there was something wrong with my health, and maybe I wasn't hygienic enough. And so when I could not tell her these things, like regarding the like me suspecting someone was coming into my house. Mind you, the gate was always locked, and there was actually a security guard down there. And so if someone was entering my house, it could have been someone that had been staying in the apartment, or the caretaker. And the caretaker had no respect for me at all, and that is like another thing that made me move out. He had like no respect for me because he actually thought I was younger than him, and he did not understand why I was in the house all along. Well, he had been sleeping around with some young girls, not some young girls, rather the house helps and stuff like that. And so he thought, since I was always alone in that house, it was my parents' house, and he would start off maybe like, being suggestive, or maybe like want me, just basically stuff like that. And my mind was not tuned to that. And so that confirmed to me that someone had like a key to my house. Yeah. And so on this specific day, when I decided to like have my laptop camera on, and then like just camouflage everything such that the person would not know. Well, when they tried opening the house, I was so scared. I was the only person in the house. Like I basically had visitors. I barely had visitors, and so that made me so scared. I was glued to my seat, and so I could not go check. And if I went to check and I saw who it was, it would have made me more scared, or maybe like caused an altercation, and I did not want that. I just like, a part of me feels like the fact that I did not check and know who it was confirmed everything I needed to know. And also, I had like the intention of moving out. And like, another thing is, if I had known who it was, they'd have, and they also like saw that I had seen them, they'd have probably done worse to me. And so I thought that would save my life, because you never know, like, people are crazy out here. And so what I decided to do was, when I set the camera on, like my laptop's camera on, I wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to see if at all also this person can actually get in when I'm not around, like during the day and especially during the morning hours. And so on that day, I woke up. So also, like, with it, at this point, I had paid my rent deposit to like the house that I had seen and I wanted to move into. And so on that specific morning, like, it was now on a Saturday, my plan was to go and buy a padlock and lock that house. Yeah, because it had been cleaned and everything. Like, it was looking new, and there was no need for like cleaning and stuff like that. And so, however, I'm the person that will always clean the house before I move into it. And so I decided, you know what? So on this specific day, when I just left my house, and before I got out of the gate, I said hi to like the caretaker and some other guys that were doing some painting around. I don't know, yeah. And so I went to the shop. I wasn't going to like the specific place that I was moving into first, that I would do in the afternoon. And so I went to the shop. The shop was like 5 minutes away, too. And so when I went to the shop, something kept on telling me everything is not okay. You know, like your intuition, right? And so I knew it's either I'd lose my laptop and every other thing that was in there. And if they meant to like unmount the TV, they'd do so and take it with them. And so I had to risk it. Like, I just wanted to risk everything to just get the information that I needed. However, I knew I wasn't wrong. And so I went to the shop, and then on coming back, I'm just this person that pretends not to know what's happening in my environment so I can get to know more. Yeah. And so I'm just like walking down, like, yeah, walking down. And so I see one of the guys that were painting peeping, and then rushes in. And then I hear and I hear like another person, like another painter, shout something that was very suspicious. And almost immediately, here's another trap I had set. Well, I'll tell that later, like after this. And immediately, I just walked in casually, and they said hi for the second time, very suspicious. And then I just walked up the stairs and into my house. And the moment I got in, there was smell of sweat, and that also confirmed everything to me. I know how I smell and I know how my house smells, but another person's sweat, that was insane. And so I just locked my house, and then I just watched the captured footage. And true to my suspicions, the caretaker actually had been entering my house without my knowledge. Now, I want you to keep in mind, like, at this point, the water has been switched off, and so I can no longer like flush my toilet, and the only water that I have is only enough to last me for like 2 to 3 days. However, I had made up my mind I don't want to stay here. And so in the afternoon, I was to go and buy a padlock and lock the new house that I was moving into. I did not even care the fact that it was of less quality or anything. The only thing that mattered was I liked it, and I liked the security, and it had like everything that I wanted from the view and everything. Yeah. And so what I did was, again, I took some water, because this time I decided I'd go with my laptop because I don't know what's going on, but I've confirmed someone has been entering my house. And so I took some water and then I spilled it on the floor in a place that even if someone was coming in and they stepped, they'd not get suspicious of it. And so I spilled some water, and I just wanted to know if this person again came back to my house. And so I spilled the water, and then I put the cup in my bag because I did not like want to go back and maybe probably step and then assume. So I set this trap. I spilled water, and when I went bought the padlock and came back, to my suspicion, the guy had also entered the house the very second time. I don't know what he was doing, but he had done that. He had entered my house the second time. However, this time around, I had locked my bedroom and left with the key. I had locked the toilet, and I had locked the no other place. I had not locked it at any other place, but I just thought those were sensitive places. And so I just left the kitchen. If at all he wanted to eat food, he could eat. I had made some food, and so if at all he wanted to like sort of throw himself off of the balcony, he could do that. I don't know, whatever he wanted to do. But when I came back, there were footprints, and they weren't mine because I barely walk barefoot. I never walk barefoot, and if you find me walking barefoot, is because I cannot find my socks, or maybe I cannot find my slippers, or maybe I'm stepping on a carpet. But besides that, I never step on tiles or bare floor with bare feet. And so when I came back, there were footsteps, and the prints were all over the place. He had attempted to go to the bedroom. And you know how this works? You know, like, there's a way that you can clean your house. There's a way that you can do that. You can clean your house with your mop, but then you leave like you don't really like rinse the surfaces that you clean. There's a specific liquid that you can use to clean your house, and then such that if someone steps on the what is it called, on the tile, you will know. It leaves a mark. There's a liquid for it. There's a liquid that you can use for it. And also, like, when you switch off lights, it shows, like, it's like it has that luminous effect. And so it was so easy for me to like identify this guy was in my house. However, there were like, he had like his friend with him, and the feet were not big enough, and so it could have been one of the house helps or something, I don't know. Or maybe like a male friend who had like shorter legs, or maybe like smaller feet, I don't know. And so when I came back, I did not, first, for starters, I just sprayed disinfectant on the floor, and I cleaned the entire house, and I just got rid of all the food. I cleaned the utensils to an extent that I actually threw some out, but I could not do everything on the same day. And so I felt so unsafe. I literally had to call a male friend of mine to come and spend the night with me in the house. And he said, yo, you know what, because at that time he had been staying at his parents' place. He was out of a job, and so he said, yo, you know what, that's cool, let me just come. And so he just came. We watched a movie, and he slept on the sitting room. I slept on the bed, but I never even felt safe even there, because what if they had installed cameras or something, maybe when I wasn't around or way before I even noticed. And so the no, this is on Sunday. On Sunday, I woke up and I called the owner of the houses and I told them, yo, you know what? I think I'm going to vacate your house. I have an emergency. I just have to move. And she was like, oh, what. And I just could not, I could not put up with that kind of bullshit. I had just paid my rent like a week ago, and then I told her I need to move. And she was like, I need to have someone come and check if we need to like repair the house and stuff like that. You know how that goes, that whole BS. And so, like, all these places that we live in, and that is how I moved out of there. But basically, all these houses that we rent out here, man, it's either, and I had not even stayed at that environment for long, because that was like my second month or my third. I barely made it to 3 months in that apartment. Yeah. And so I actually found like a better place. And I don't know, like with the case of MCJJ, I just think that a part of him has been pissed off, and the fact that the managerial, the managerial people, that is the caretaker and some of these other guys that are in that position, I just feel like those people that are managing that specific environment, the fact that they can take sides is sort of what triggered MCJJ. And I mean, like, a lawsuit can be filed against him for noise pollution and stuff like that, but I mean, there are also other individuals that make noise while in that apartment. And it's about the little things that these guys do, like when you rent an apartment, and then for me I barely come across such things because I keep more to myself. And I feel like the fact that someone can judge you or maybe like switch off your lights just because you're playing music, because they're not used to you playing music, I feel like that is also something that these guys are supposed to like look into. It's the double standards for me. Like, I'll never understand that. I'll never understand how. And also, like, regarding the footage, I just like, given the history that I had with these people, like in that apartment, from the landlady saying that I could be having like an existing condition that is making me diarrhea, when I said that the water was smelling bad or stuff like that. When she gaslighted me, I just knew that if I show her the footage of the caretaker entering my house, she would probably say that I actually left the house and gave him the key so he could come after me and probably hang out in my house. Like, those people who just make you feel like you're wrong, or maybe make you feel some type of way. That's the kind of environment I was in. And so I swore to never again rent an apartment immediately. Like, especially when I see like a red flag, and especially if the owner of the house has like, personal issues, or maybe has like an attitude. I just so like to never rent a house, especially if my intuition feels it's wrong. I just so never to do that. And I mean, like, I've seen other people being sued because of, like, people do crazy stuff. Like, you could be living in an apartment and you request for your rent deposit, and then the landlady is like, move out fast and then I'll give you the money. And then they end up like not refunding the money, or maybe even like sending like $10 of rent deposit. Keep in mind you had been paying like around maybe 100 or 200. And it's such things that actually make tenants to go crazy. And let me tell you, I've heard like of people who've been sued because of damaging the houses, like the windows and stuff like that. But I don't do that, and it just makes it so unfair for me to like move into an apartment and pay rent deposit, yet I know that is just money that has been stolen from me, even without struggle, because I know I can never get back rent deposit from these people. They never refund your deposit in Kenya. However, show me someone that actually refunds full deposit in Kenya. Yeah. So I know we all have like crazy stories. Do let me know what your crazy story is. If you'd like to share your crazy story with me, yeah, we can do like a video together and see how that goes. Cause I feel like we have some crazy. I know there's someone that has a crazier story than I do, and oh my god, can you imagine? And like the part that really bothers me is, what if this person, like this caretaker, the time that he wanted to come to my house at night, what was he really up to? Keep in mind, like in all the houses that I moved to, I'm always alone. What was he up to? Like, what did he want? And I don't know. I just don't understand. And I also like the fact that a landlady, as a fellow lady, can lie about a house having like a duplicate key and going ahead and giving the same key to a caretaker. What does that make that woman? And also the caretaker that actually goes ahead, if or me like, I don't know, maybe duplicates a key for the house and remains with the original key, and maybe probably even hands it to someone who's more malicious than they are, like a thief, a murderer. You just never know. Like, anyone can turn into anything depending on the circumstances. Yeah. Anyway, that is my story. Do let me know what your story is, what you think about this specific episode, what you think about the landlords and caretakers that we have in Kenya, and also the agents that we have in Kenya, because those ones are fire. They could even like lock you out, or maybe like lock you in and have you die in that specific house just because you haven't paid like 1,000 shillings to them. Let me know what your thoughts are about this episode. I hope that you enjoy watching this, whether in the morning, afternoon, evening, night, depending on the time that you are watching me at. Make sure that you enjoy the rest of your time, and Merry Christmas. Bye.